Good morning, beloveds. I wonder if you all know how very beautiful you are today. I have had several experiences this morning with some of you making people smile without even realizing you were doing it. So I hope you will carry that away with you today. So now is a time when anyone of any age is welcome to join me up front so that you can get a better look. And I'm just warning you, this is an audience participation kind of day. So be aware. All right. So I brought something with me today. I brought these special glasses. I wonder if there's anyone who would try these on for me. Meow, meow. Meow, meow. Would you do this, please, Mr. Cat? Yeah. Would you put them on?
Yeah, I'm a kitten.
You are a kitten? Okay.
Look at those little ears.
I love the little ears. Okay, now, I want you to turn around and look at everybody through those glasses. How do they look when you put them on? Normal? Really super normal? Okay, so let me ask you this question. What color is Gobi's t-shirt? Pink? Okay, Gobi, stand up and show everybody your t-shirt. Is it pink? No, but the glasses make it look pink, don't they? In fact, they almost make it look a little bit pink. Those are some very pink glasses. You can keep them on if you want to, Malcolm. It's up to you. Or you can give them back. Yeah. Now, I need somebody to try something slightly trickier for me. Can I get a volunteer? You can try them on if you want. You just have to ask Malcolm very sweetly. Crow, are you sure? You want to do this? All right. So you're going to come up here, and Ryan, you might want to scoot over a little bit. Okay. So what I want you to do is face me, okay? And then you might want to take your bag off too, because you're going to stand with your legs apart like this. All right. And then you're going to look at the congregation through the triangle. Can you do that? All right. So how do they look in this moment?
They're not there.
They're not there. Okay, so I wasn't accounting for the length of the shirt, right? Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who would like to try that for me? Just very quickly. Oh, come on, be bold. Gobi, you think you could do it? All right, let's see it. You're going to make a triangle with your feet, and then you're going to look at the congregation through the triangle. How do they look? How do they look when you do that? You can see that much. Are they perhaps upside down? Maybe? Maybe that's because it's upside down, right? I know. You want to try it, Finley? Let's see. Are you having the same results upside down? Yeah? All right. Okay. Now, I need one more volunteer. This one's easy. Yeah, bring it in here, Walter. Let's see. So you're going to come up here, going to face the congregation, okay? All right. Now, shut your eyes. How do they look? Black? Dark? Yeah? Yeah? All right, excellent. Yeah, so you can't see them at all when your eyes are shut, right? Yeah, doesn't work. Okay, you're good. You can sit down. So, open your eyes first. Yeah, for safety. Excellent. I'm glad that you figured that out without us telling you. All right, so I'm going to give you a trickier one, but first I have to give you a little bit more information, okay? So who here knows what a haiku is? A lot of people. Can anybody tell me what a haiku is? You can just shout it out if you know.
5 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables.
Yep, it's a poem with 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables. It's very short, right? It's very brief. But they're mysteriously powerful, right? And I know sometimes we write silly haikus, right? But like the ones that are not silly, they can put you in a whole scene and make you feel what it's like to be there in almost no words at all, which I think is really cool. So I wanted to share one of the most famous, it's one of the ones that's by the most famous haiku poet, whose name is Matsuo Basho. And it goes like this. Such fragrance. From where? Which tree? Can you kind of imagine wandering through a garden you smell something wonderful, you're trying to track down where it is? So it kind of puts you in that moment. And then here's another one by Masaoka Shiki. Summer river, there's a bridge, but the horse goes through water. So if you were the horse, why? Why, when there's a bridge, would you go through water? What do you think? Oh yeah, because you're a horse that can't fly. That can fly. So you're like bridges. Psh, we don't need bridges. What's it like in the summer? What do you think, Walter? Maybe the bridge is too weak for the horse. And they also said that it's summer, right? So like, what's something that you like to do in the summer when it's hot? What do you think, Finley? Swim? Yeah. So when I see this poem, the thing that I think is, oh, it must feel so good to be that horse and go in the water and not be up on the bridge where, you know, pavement gets especially hot in the summer, right? Or like roads. So that's not where I would want to be. All right, so here's one last haiku, and this one's my favorite. Barns burnt down, now I can see the moon. That one is by Mizuta Masahide. And he was a student of Basho, the poet who wrote about the tree that smelled so good. And of all the poems that Masahide wrote, this was his teacher's favorite. But it doesn't sound very happy, does it? Like his barn burned down? Like his whole barn? That sounds terrible, right? That's like much worse than if it was just storm damaged and he could get up there with a hammer and maybe fix it. It's gone, which sounds theoretically like the worst thing that could happen to a barn. And I'm sure the poet had plans for that barn, right? Like what do we usually keep in our barns? Animals, for sure, and like maybe crops, right? Maybe supplies. And now he can't do any of those things, right? All his plans are completely messed up. And that happens sometimes when we make plans, right? Something goes wrong and things don't turn out as we expect. And maybe it makes you want to go crawl under your covers and like come out later when you feel like it. So why on earth is Matsuo Masahide looking at the moon instead? Like, what do you think? What do you think, Walter? Yeah, he's examining it in a new way? Yeah, maybe so. He can finally see it, right? And that's kind of what I think too. It's like when something big and scary happens and it kind of wrecks our plans, like sometimes we get very stuck. We start thinking to ourselves, but it was supposed to go a different way, right? And we can't get past that feeling of, but this isn't right. But he got himself unstuck and he said, okay, that happened. It was bad. But then he didn't just look at the burned down barn. He looked at where the barn used to be, right? And was like, whoa, look at that. And, you know, maybe he had lived for days or weeks or months and never realized that every night when the moon came up, the barn was blocking it. But now he was seeing the world in a new way. And that can change you, right? It might even, seeing the moon like that, it might even change your plans. Your plans might just be to sit down and look at the moon for a while now that you can see it. But it opens up a whole bunch of new ideas, a bunch of new things that we could do. Now, does that mean we should be happy that our barn burned down? Probably not. I mean, there are still some practical things that we have to deal with now that our barn has burned down, right? But there is something new out there just waiting for us to notice. And so I hope that you'll remember this poem, Barns Burnt Down. Now I can see the moon. And maybe even look at the world through some pink glasses, yeah. And use it to remind you when your plans go wrong. And ask yourself, yeah, but what new thing can I see? Where's the moon? Thank you for volunteering. I appreciate it. And now let us sing our way out to our religious exploration groups.
I had never heard that haiku before. Have you heard that haiku before? No, a few of you. Not many. Okay, yeah, the one from 17th century Japanese poet Mizuta Masahide. Barns burnt down, now I can see the moon. When we were in the worship planning meeting for this service, one of us shared this haiku, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks, the way a good haiku often does. And while the syllables may not translate, I feel like the layers of meaning really do. At first, I thought this haiku was just about acceptance, about finding silver linings in tragedy. The barn burnt, but isn't it great that we can now see the moon? The more I sit with it, though, the more I realize it's also about something deeper. It's about how sometimes loss can create clarity. About how sometimes what burns away, whether by choice or by force, reveals what has always been there waiting to be seen. We gather here this morning not even 2 weeks into the new year, and honestly, it feels like the ground is shaking beneath our feet already. Our national and global landscape is frightening. We watch as threats of war escalate, both global and civil. We hear powerful leaders speak casually of invasion. We see authoritarianism rising, democracy tested, violence normalized. And it all just feels relentless. And many of us are carrying a particular kind of dread in our bodies, the kind that makes it hard to sleep, hard to plan, hard to focus, hard to get through each day. So we look for things that we can control. And sometimes we look for things that we can control in our immediate environment. Sometimes we look for things we can control within our own lives. We make resolutions, particularly in January. We promise ourselves that we will finally control our exercise or our eating or our health, or we promise to get 10,000 steps a day, as if the right amount of personal discipline will somehow steady the ground beneath our feet. But here's what I've been noticing. Sometimes what we need isn't more discipline or another resolution. Sometimes what we need is to let go of something, to release our grip on something that's holding us back. Maybe what we need to let go of is internal, a belief that we've outgrown, a resentment that we've been nursing, a fear that we've been feeding, or an old story about who we are or what's possible. Or maybe what's holding us back is external, a system that's crushing us, an injustice that we can't personally fix, but keep trying to carry, the weight of things that we were never meant to hold. And sometimes what's standing between us and what we want or what we want to do or what we want to manifest, what's standing in between isn't something we need to overcome through sheer willpower. It's something we just need to dissolve, to release, to burn away. The barn burning down, it's not always a tragedy. Sometimes we've been rebuilding that same barn in that same place for years because that's where the barn has always been, even though it blocks our vision of the moon. And sometimes that barn was never ours to begin with. It was built to contain us, to limit us, to prevent us from seeing clearly. Those barns, they need to burn too. What do you need to let go of so that you can move forward? What barn needs to burn down so that the moon can illuminate your path? Because here's what I know. We need to see the moon right now. We need clarity. We need reminders of what matters. We need to release the negativity that's consuming our energy, whether it's our own patterns or the weight of unjust systems we've been carrying. We need to name what must burn away, our fears, yes, and also the structures of oppression, the grip of fascism. We need our strength for what lies ahead. We need to be able to see it. We need our strength for the hard work of justice, for the long work of love, for the persistent work of building the world we believe in. In just a few moments, after Breyer shares their reflection with us with some very tangible advice on what letting go might look like, we'll engage in a ritual of release. We'll have an opportunity to name, just for ourselves, what needs to go so that we can see more clearly, so that we can keep what matters most, so that we can keep showing up for ourselves and for one another and for this hurting world with our whole hearts. The barn is burning and the moon is waiting. Let's look to the light.